What is surprisingly not bullshit. Algae and phytoplankton actually produce most of the world's oxygen, about 70% on average, not trees like most people assume and were taught. Guys, trees are still important, don't freak out, but do they consume as much CO2 as trees? Edit, I am now an expert on O2/CO2 production/consumption. AMA. In the Cold War, the US had plans to drop Magnum-size condoms labeled as regular on Russia to demoralize the population. I thought for sure you were just being silly, but nope, it's real. It's hilarious to think that while everyone was terrified of nuclear war breaking out, the only plans they actually had was making fun of each other's dicks. Scotland's national animal is the unicorn. And for Wales, it's a dragon. Wales would have picked the sheep, but that's their first lady. How do you put a Welshman to sleep? Ask him how many times he's had sex. A 2-day-old gazelle can outrun a racehorse. Horses aren't super fast, but gazelles can't carry a person. Also, gazelles are every gazelle for themselves. They're not trying to outrun predators, they're trying to outrun each other as well. There is a strong evolutionary pressure to be the fastest. Horses will stay together and fight if needed, so they run much slower. It's a better strategy in a lot of ways. There are animals who can kill a horse, but no predator specializes in horses. One of an octopus' tentacles is actually a penis and can detach it and throw it at its mate, where she can inseminate herself. Here, go fuck yourself. Edit, wow, didn't expect to get so much attention, and thanks for the gold. I realize there is one specific species of octopus, Argonaut, that has a detachable penis. So octopuses literally give a fuck. During World War II, the US Navy had serious plans on using incendiary bat bombs against major Japanese cities. Hundreds of thousands of bats were planned to be dropped from airplanes above Japanese cities during early morning. As bats are nocturnal, they would hide among the wooden houses and buildings permeating the cities. The bats were armed with timed bombs, which would explode and turn entire cities into infernos. As history shows, there were no bat-induced infernos in Japan. The project had ended prematurely. They did, however, capture, experiment and put bombs on thousands of bats, which was an exceedingly slow process. At one point, one bat escaped and nearly burned the entire base down. The project was eventually scrapped because it was taking too long to finish and the Manhattan Project was coming to fruition. I read a book when I was younger on this. It was a trilogy where the main protagonists were bats and they were abducted and used as bombs. It was called Silverwing for the first book and Sunwing for the third book. Awesome books. The top of the Eiffel Tower leans away from the sun, as the metal facing the sun heats up and expands. It can move as much as 7 inches. I can move as much as 7 inches. Smile. Edit, multiple people saying the same jokes below, but op said not bullshit something something multiple movements dividing 7 into smaller inch increments. You're probably too fat to move too far. Thanks for contributing, I guess. Whoever bought me gold, I wish you'd spent the time and money on making a botnet to downvote shitty meme posts and sex jokes, as that would actually have improved my Reddit experience much more than lounge access. Crocodiles actually have no lifespan. If they lived in a perfectly suited environment with no predators/diseases etc., they would live forever. It's a process called negligible senescence. The oldest croc in the world recently celebrated his 113th birthday. Get the scientists to preserve him, then in the future when the technology exists to communicate with animals, the crocodile can inform the future generation of our lives. This is easily the most upvoted post I've ever had on Reddit. Wow, they were all delicious. One day I came home from work and there was this little white box sitting on the counter. I asked my wife, "What is this thing?" She said, "It's a box that emits a high-pitched sound that only cats can hear and it will keep Spike off the counters." Me, how much did you pay for this magic box? Wife, it was $50. Me, $50 for a magic fucking box that's not going to fucking work? Can you return it? Wife, let's just see if it works and I'll return it if it doesn't. I ate my fucking words. This was 10 years ago, and my cat got up on the counter one time after we got the box and then never again. The box doesn't even work anymore. I think it's not even plugged in anyway. Still, the cat won't go near it. Sorcery. The fax machine was patented in 1843. Edit, I didn't know what or who thought it was until today, but thanks for the pointer. I heard this from a friend a few years ago. I still find it surprising. Yeah, it's fun reading about how they worked. People wrote on special metallic foil, leaving indentions wherever they wrote/typed. The foil was put on a roller which was electrified. The roller spun at a consistent rate. A corresponding remote roller was used as a printer. A needle was run at a set rate over first roller. Wherever the foil touched the needle, an electrical signal was sent out across the line, that caused a telegraph arm moving at the same rate to drop onto the receiving roller and leave a mark. Was used mainly to pass signatures for legal documents. Originally commerce. Edit, changed to letter. The late chemist Alexander Shulgin was paid by the DEA to legally synthesize and then trip on just about every psychedelic that we know of, and many we didn't know of till he synthesized them. He literally wrote the book on psychedelics, which was then used to make most of those illegal. If you start the month with $1 and double it every day, you'd be a billionaire by the end of that month. The power of exponential growth. Not if that month's February. Stop spreading misinformation. I sort of meant this thread as what looks like a scam but actually works, not what is a cool fact. My fault for the wording, I guess, but I didn't mean to give you guys another one of these threads. Sorry dudes, I failed you. If the race is long enough, the human will outrun the horse. The US Navy's combat dolphins are serious military assets, to the tune of $14 million in funding a year, and has the Pentagon's financial backing through the year 2020. I had to look this up and found out the Navy is not only training dolphins but also sea lions. Lol. Real Navy SEALs. Dark roasted coffee has less caffeine. Nausea can sometimes be fixed by moving your head through a set of positions to readjust the crystals in your inner ear. Got to admit, if my doctor told me my crystals need realigning, I'd wonder how many cereal box tops his diploma cost. Carrot edit, guys, I know it's a real thing. Cow shit. I mean, it looks the same. Einstein was once offered the presidency to Israel. The president in Israel is actually just a public figure. The prime minister is the real political leader, like the president in the US. Birds' closest living relatives are the crocodilians. Imagine if crocodiles could fly. Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen are not identical twins. One of the most venomous animals in the world is a snail. If you removed all the veins and arteries from your body and lined them up on the ground, you would die. Those survey websites where they like complete X offers and win a free XYZ. There are full communities of people who trade offers with each other and or will pay you a portion of the split price to do an offer. AKA if the value of the prize is $500 and you need 10 credits, $50/credit, they will pay you $35 per credit to help them win the prize. I used to do offers for people in college for some extra spending cash. I had a bet with a friend once. He said that these things were bullshit, so I proved him wrong. So I won $600, the value of a laptop, and $50. I'll tell you one thing though, these guys are shady AF. After completing everything, they had me print out a certificate and mail it in, along with a W4/W9. Little do they know, I send important shit via UPS. 2 days later, UPS called me up and said that the address doesn't exist. I contacted them again and they gave me a completely different address as the correct one. If your parents didn't have kids, there's an overwhelming likelihood that you won't either. The word Ewok is never said once in Return of the Jedi. More than 80% of the human population think they are smarter than the average population. Edit, I should have said that it is true when people are asked to answer the question by referring to a population of their colleagues and friends. Sometimes peers depending on the kind of intelligence/skill like social skills, so results can be different from 80% depending on the question asked. The 80% was correct in a study and they asked to college teachers. Also, this is called the illusory superiority bias for those interested. If you think this is surprising, you haven't been on Reddit long enough. Edit, the question is, who is so dumb that they think they are more smart? Not me, I'm really dumb. If Matthew Santoro reads this, none of us will need to watch his next video. 1 million seconds is 11 days. 1 billion seconds is 31 years. Till I'm a billion seconds old. During the Cold War, the CIA had a plan to get rid of Castro by spreading rumors that he was the Antichrist, then fake the second coming off of the coast of Cuba. The plan was that a US submarine would make its way towards Havana and fire star shells into the air. They then would use a US military plane, hidden in the clouds, with a loudspeaker, and somebody would pretend to be Jesus while urging the population to denounce communism and overthrow the regime. Other such plans included lacing Castro's radio studio with LSD to cause his disorientation during the broadcast, and using thallium to cause his beard to fall out, both to destroy his public image. Edit, typo. Oxford University predates the Aztec Empire by at least 250 years. Oxford definitely existed in 1167, 261 years before the Aztec Empire rose in 1428, but records exist of teaching happening at Oxford University as far back as 1096, a full 330 years before the Aztec Empire. The combined mass of all ants on Earth is greater than the combined mass of all humans on Earth. Edit, I believe it's termites, not ants. Americans are doing their part to be heavier than ants. Are you? Many Islamic countries recognize transgender people and support their sex change operation, since by changing sex they would no longer be doing gay sex. Iran is the second does more sex change operations than any country in the world, except Thailand. Febreze. It actually traps odors as advertised by a fascinating, at least to me, as a chemist, mechanism. But there's no way to say that without sounding like a commercial. Edit, if you want to know how it works, just read one of the many comments below explaining it, or Google it. The information is readily available. The soil on Prince Edward Island in Canada is actually, really quite bright brick red. It's very weird to see. I heard about it, but then to see it, it's quite a shock how bright it is. Dolphins are horrible animals raping the shit out of each other. Craftsman Tools lifetime warranty. I found a really old Craftsman socket wrench in my dad's tools and he told me about the warranty, since the switch on it was broke. He sent it to them, got a brand new one. Edit, spelling. Ejaculation clears your sinuses. I found this out when I was working from home due to illness, on Monday. Yeah, but it's a pain waiting for it to reload before squirting the second nostril. Most people have an above average amount of hands. All the other planets in our solar system can fit the distance between the Earth and the Moon with room to spare. Only 6% of African slaves were brought to North America. The other 94% ended up in South America and the Caribbean. One of the reasons for this is that conditions in SA and the Caribbean led to many more deaths and the importation of replacement workers. The geographic center of the continental contiguous US was determined by balancing a cutout of the US on a needle. It was accurate within 10 miles. Edit. Thanks/you/how do I turn Thyson. That Gothin steel pan that's been showing up on advertisements lately. It's fucking awesome, it really is non-stick. It's amazing for cooking pancakes. Many Gothins died to bring us this information. Restarting a computer actually does fix many of the nagging things that go wrong during normal operation. Duct tape water removal. There are more cells in our brains than there are brains in our bodies. Maryland's state sport is jousting. If you were to remove all of the empty space from the atoms that make up every human on Earth, the entire world population could fit into an apple. And also, it would take 1,200,000 mosquitoes, each sucking once, to completely drain the average human of blood. TFW, they keep on sucking. CIA mind control program MK Ultra. That they couldn't keep that one, literal mind control experiments, under wraps is why I'm fundamentally skeptical of most conspiracy theories. That and they made a total botch of it, which speaks to the realistic level of government competence rather than the almost omnipotent reputation they enjoy among conspiracy theorists. When Mount Everest was first measured, it was exactly 29,000 feet. Since the scientists assumed that most people would call bullshit on their measurements, they actually wrongly added a couple feet. Liked what you saw? Hit like, subscribe and the bell icon for more crazy Reddit content.